Dr. Mark Changizi here with your Science Moment. This week, there has been some brouhaha about Kamala Harris's border czar, or whatever it was called, and whether she was actually ever formally the border czar, but nevertheless she was still. There was all this PR at the time that she was going to take this role of being the border czar, and now there's a whole lot of memory holing of that as if it never occurred, trying to in fact change documents to suggest it didn't occur, covering it differently. So there's this notion of memory holing the statements of, in this case, my opposition. Now, I think it's a nice case to remind ourselves. Now, often, and I've had previous science moments where we talk about memory holing and exactly what it means relative just to mere censorship. Now, when we typically think of memory holing, we think of memory holing by our opposition of us, right? That's sort of the typical thing. They decide to censor us, and then everything that I've ever said is gone, and everything that anybody ever quoted of me is also gone. So the very ideas, the very notions that I stand for have been memory holed. They're just literally disappear, and that sort of rids themselves of the threat of my speech. But of course, that sort of is misunderstanding the other side of the coin about free expression. Free expression isn't just a privilege to put out your views out there to the world. It's also a liability, as we've talked about in other science moments. It's a liability. Every time that you speak, you push reputation chips onto the table. And if you say it more confidently, you push even more reputation chips, right? It is a liability. I will lose reputation if it turns out that I was wrong. And the deeper that I was wrong, the more that I lose reputation. And this is the kind of memory holing that is occurring, or at least in discussion, and in his other aspects of Kamala Harris being one of the most left-leaning in terms of her voting record and so forth amongst anybody, amongst all of the Democrats. That has sort of been rewritten in some kind of document. There's all these discussions of memory holing, but it's all in the context not of the opposition censoring us. This memory holing is all in the context of the opposition censoring themselves, memory holing themselves, right? So, and this is a nice illustration, a nice reminder. When you speak, it is a liability. There's often just as much motivation to memory hole one's own speech so that you don't lose the reputation of having said it, right? This is why we want free expression, and we want it to not be memory holed, whether it's our side or the other side. I want the other side's speech out there, and I want it to stay there. I don't want it to be memory hold because I want to use it against them. I want to lower their reputation on its basis. Right? So it's just another reminder of the two sides of the coin of free expression. It's not just about the privilege of being able to get your ideas out there. It's about the liability that it exposes you to by virtue of doing so. And memory holing is dangerous because it can affect both sides. And that was your science moment. If you haven't gotten a copy of Tim Barber and my book, Expressly Human, 12 years of work censored by the federal government on the origins of emotional expressions, answering Darwin's question, why do social animals have emotional expressions at all? Get it at bookstores near you.